or whatnot. The question I have for you is this. Do you allow your temper to get in the way of keeping your composure, your professionalism, and as well as not harming your team in the process? Well, for Myles Garrett, he clearly didn't care for what the repercussions were and decided to act out of emotion, which is an absolute no-no. Number one, you are a professional athlete. You are expected to conduct yourself in a way in that not only you set an example for those watching, but that you also respect and recognize the expectations and the responsibility that you have to yourself and the Cleveland Browns organization. Number two, there's no room for that in sports, period. Listen, it's okay to get angry. It's okay to be upset. But it's never okay to take the helmet off another player and use it as a weapon to inflict bodily harm onto anyone, even if it's your opponent. Now, Mason Rudolph is not free of blaming all of this. I just want to make that very clear right now. He's not. However, what I do have to say is this, is that even though Myles Garrett absolutely deserves the punishment that he received, which, by the way, was an indefinite suspension for the remainder of 2019 regular season and postseason. As for 2020, we'll see what happens when we get there. Mason Rudolph instigated the whole incident. If you go back on YouTube, watch the whole sequence, and you see that he was the one that started this whole thing. So my whole question to the NFL is this. What are you going to do in terms of Mason Rudolph? He's not innocent in any of this. And what's so disappointing in all of this is this. These are grown men making millions of dollars, if not at the very bare minimum, hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a sport that you love. And you can't control your emotions on the field? I get the aspect of, well, I was in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle. I get that. I sincerely understand. However, you also realize that you are held to a higher level of standard compared to anyone else because of the position that you're in. That, to me, does not justify an excuse, nor does it make it okay. And unfortunately, Myles Garrett, you have to, as we say in the hood, you have to take that L. You're going to have to own up to it, and that's going to stick with you for the rest of your career, and frankly, for the rest of your life, unfortunately. And the more I think about it, and it's been 48 hours since, almost exactly 48 hours since this incident, the more I keep thinking, wow, I don't care if it's a rivalry game or if it's someone you absolutely despise, but for you to go on a whole other level and use a helmet, a football helmet that could be used as a weapon to hurt another player, potentially a life-altering injury, there's no excuse for that. There's no room for that on an NFL field, let alone in professional or collegiate sports. None. Not even in amateur sports. And what's so disheartening in seeing that is that this is a guy who's arguably the best pass rusher on the Cleveland Browns. And let's face it, this 2019 season for the Cleveland Browns has been an absolute disaster up to this point. It has. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It has. However, Now you are going to be without Garrett for the remainder of the season. What does that mean? It means that now your pass rush will not be as strong or as effective as it may have been up until that point. It won't. So when you look at the defensive line for Cleveland, and even heck, when you look at the Cleveland Brown defense now, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be as strong, and it's not going to be as effective. And for whatever reason, Myles Garrett decided to be selfish, and he's paying the price for it oh so dearly. And that is a microcosm of the problems that the Cleveland Browns as an organization has had here in 2019. Very selfish, very unprofessional, very unaware, and to make matters worse, completely negligent of the responsibilities that the players have to themselves, to the city of Cleveland, and to the Cleveland Browns organization. And this is the cherry on the sundae of what has been an absolute disastrous 2019 Cleveland Browns. And when the season's all said and done, the number one thing that I'm going to take away from this Cleveland Browns team in 2019, lack of character and lack of professionalism on their parts. To be able to conduct themselves professionally on the field, no matter what is going on, whether if things are going your way or things are going south. There's a way you conduct yourself at all times. And attempting to end the career of another player is absolutely unacceptable. And it's downright criminal. And dare I say, this is not what you want young children to be watching at home, thinking that this is okay, because it's not.